Greetings! Welcome to Faulkner Fixes All. As promised, we're going to measure and see what the main differences are between a Schwinn Springer. This is a genuine Schwinn Springer, I believe, and a reproduction Schwinn Springer. There are major differences, and one of the main reasons I'm doing this is because this one was riding so poorly I couldn't even ride the bike. I took it off the bike. If there's something I can do to mimic this Schwinn one and put it on that beater Typhoon I have, we will try. Anyway, let's measure this up and see what's going on. What's the main differences? Okay, so the first difference is the quality. This is just thicker, heavier stuff. I can just tell by lifting it up. And the way this is punched right here, the way that's just punched through, like with some big force and a big giant press very quickly, and that weakens that tube. And this was made in a way that didn't weaken it so much. They crunched it down a little bit, and then they drilled through it, and then they threaded. One of these ends is threaded to accept this grade 5 bolt, and this is for the fender. This swings in there for the fender. Now you don't get that on reproduction springers. You don't get that piece usually. It won't even go up in there. I'll show you. Usually, like here's the cheapie. See how they made that so far up in there, and there's no way to put it in there anyway because there's no gap there. How are you going to put that on there? How in the world are you going to put your fender on there? What, are you supposed to just put a tab down? Then it's not going to swing with the Springer. The fender needs to swing a little bit. So that's a problem. You'll never get a fender on these reproduction ones. And you will on the Schwinn one because it goes right in there. Isn't that nice? And the welds, they're not great, but they're not gloppy. I mean, look at the difference. I'd rather be riding on that than this. And the weight, too. I mean, this just feels a lot heavier. Even the diameter of that bottom part is really cheap. Okay, so and this is also threaded for a lot of different bikes. That's whatever, Anyway, so this is heavier. This goes in, and I'll show you how this works. So one side is through. Oops. It's not as easy as you think. Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. One side goes through, and before it threads in, you put the fender catcher in there. You get that in there. And then you can thread it into this threaded part. I should be using a 9/16 wrench, but I have a 14. Oh dear. Okay, so that threads into that actually threads in. Here it comes. You can see it coming. Just a minute. It threads into the passenger side into the passenger side fork stay. You see it threading there. It's coming right now. Anyway, you get the idea. It threads into that. It's not cooperating too much right now. Probably because I have to tap it a little. Okay, it started to thread there. Okay, so that's a pretty big difference right there. And the way these are made, and then they're square, and they're not punched through like these ones. Now on this one, this bolt's not graded, and you just shove it through. You just shove it through there, and it's really punched hard and very cheap and light. And let's get a micrometer on these stiffeners. And that looks to be about, it looks to be about 1/2 inch. It's exactly 1/2 inch. Okay, let's look at these. And these are, yeah, these are under 1/2 inch. They are, well, it's in thousandths of an inch, but it's 4,500. So what is that, 7/16? Anyway, it's under. This is under 1/2 inch. That's under. Oh, were we there? Let's see, we're on that. That's 1/2. And that's 1/2. Yeah, okay, they're both about the same. All right, yeah. Sue me. Okay, and so the next thing we look at is the way the spring attaches. Oh dear. This is the Schwinn piece, and here is the reproduction piece. The angle is slightly different there. You see the angle? Now, I don't know if they do that because the other angles are off, but the angle does not match the Schwinn angle. You know, that's significant. And it's you know, that could throw you off a little bit, literally. So let's put this back on so I never put that on a non-Schwinn bike. Okay. All right, let's just throw that back on. I don't want this stuff to go anywhere. Okay, now let's look at the way the rods are. Now this is the reproduction rod. It's stamped down pretty far. Like that stamping goes a good 4 inches to the edge. And if you hold it up to that Schwinn bolt up there, and you hold it here, it's significantly different. There's a good, 2 inches that's not stamped on that. Now that means that this is stronger. It doesn't have that full stamp. And the same with the top, really. Yeah, there's a good 3/8 of an inch difference from the top. You can see that if you bolted that onto the Schwinn one, it would be down another 3/8 of an inch. So that's 3/8 of an inch on this. That is cheaper and less rigid. And 2 inches on that. So yeah, this Schwinn part is superior. It's probably thicker inside as well. Okay, so what's the next thing? Obviously, this has the S bolts on it. And it has lock. You know, these are lock washers. The serrated lock washers. I don't know if they're built onto the nut or not. They probably are. AZ Sting will tell me. So those might be built onto the nut, and that would be okay. Those are S bolts. This is most likely a Schwinn Springer. This is marked left, as you can see, and that's marked right. That's hard to see, but you can kind of see it right there. Okay, so they're marked. I mean, they don't even bother marking these. They don't care. It's just slapped together. If you put it on the wrong way, oh well. And this is already oblong just from a few rides. This is really in bad shape. You can see just from a couple of rides on that. Look at the wear there. That's not happening on this. This is tight. The way these are crimped, and this tubing is better quality. Okay, so what else? What else can we look at? Oh, let's look at the spring. Let's look at the height of the spring. I really don't want to mix these parts up. Okay, so there's the height of the spring. You notice anything different? Yeah, there's another whole coil up here. There's another whole coil. They just chopped this one off lickety-split, like whatever, we're making springers here at the factory. So that spring is taller. Here, I'll set them like this and you can see. So yeah, that's a good, I don't know, 1/8 inch taller. But really what's happening is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's what's going on here. There's an extra little machined part on top of the spring. It's like the 9th coil. That makes a difference, folks. That's, you know, that does make a difference. And then you look at the bolts. This is graded, obviously. There's a little triangle on it. It's probably grade 5 because Schwinn didn't mess around. It's fine thread, which is nice. Nice, good, hardened American bolt. This, on the other hand, what is that? Who knows what that is? Coarse thread, no stamp. You're on your own. Oh, and it's already galled because, well, no, that one didn't gall. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the rubber parts. Obviously, this cone here is, this cap here is much better. I mean, yeah, this is an old piece of rubber, and that's a problem. But this cap is just well made, you can see. Okay, so let's put this back through. And then we'll look at this. Just a cheap stamped part. Nothing in the middle to accept any kind of spring action. Like this would just be floating around in there, even if you put it in wrong. It would just be zooming around in there. There's nothing to catch it. This looks really cheap and stamped. And there is not much going on these fasteners, by the way. Okay, so this one looks a little better. I mean, it's stamped, but it's not super cheap. It's a little thicker. And it has a little ring on there. It's stamped ring to help you locate that. Imagine that, to help keep the spring in the little holder. Amazing. That's good. Okay. Okay, so we've covered almost all the cheap aspects of this. And look at this. They actually made it so each bolt is the same. The cheap reproduction springer. Like, there's no difference in the bolt. There's very little difference. So they made the same bolt do the spring and the through. Not the case with this one. This bolt is way longer because the spring is longer, because the spring has an extra coil. See how that's longer than that bolt? It sticks out. Well, this one's not out already because I didn't thread it all the way in, but yeah, it's a good 1/2 inch longer because they have that extra coil on the good spring. That extra coil means you need a longer bolt. Okay, that's good. These are good things. Okay, so let's mic some stuff and we'll see if it mics up correctly. Which it probably doesn't. All right, let's I don't know, let's mic this. What is that? That is basically 50. What is that? I'm trying to think there. It's a little over 1/2 inch. Or we could go millimeters, and that would be like 13 millimeter. Yeah, that's about 13 millimeter right there. And this is yeah, that's like almost 16 millimeter. Yeah, that's 13 millimeter. This is 16 millimeter. Plus, that's really thick inside. So yeah, that's a big difference. And then you got this whole ridiculousness. And that's about 36 millimeter. And here's this one. And it's obvious. Look at how smaller that is. You know, and that's about 31 millimeter. Okay, that's got to be more than that. $31. Oh, that had to be more. There's no way that was only that much. Yeah, I read that wrong. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it's a sizable difference. Okay, so that's pretty rough. So let's measure the throw, like we were saying, from this bolt hole to here. And I can just hold it up here and show you that it's totally different. Let's Let's take this out. Even just eyeballing it, I can tell you that this is totally different. The bend is completely different. If we put it on that Schwinn bolt and put it to there, okay, we're a good 3/8 of an inch higher. Plus, here's the skinny. Here's the whole problem. This is why it's throwing everybody off. From that bolt hole to that other one, look at the difference. I mean, that's a good 1.5 inches. You know, there's no way that that lines up at all. Now, did they do that because this was so far up and not correct? You know, like if you look at this, it's not that far off. I mean, you got this big goofy thing here from them drilling some unknown reason what they were doing there. I don't know what was going on. But if you look at this, it's actually pretty close to lining up. But then you got this, if that was the case, so they just stamped it off. I don't think there's any way I can fix this. I could put this piece in the press and crunch it. I could make it more of an arc. But see, you're off. You're totally off. This piece is not that far off from here to there. But this is off. I don't think there's any way I can make this Springer front end be right unless I compressed it right here. Here, I'll make a mark or something. Unless I compressed it right here and welded a sleeve in, that would make the concentric arc correct. So, I mean, that's a lot of work for a cheapy Springer. Let's check the other one against this too. No, it's the same. Yeah, it's probably even worse. Yeah, it is worse. The arc is off. That's probably why this one's so odd. See, that's... the arc is way off, and then it ends early. So I could bend these a little more, and we could try that. I don't think I would bend it here. I think I would put it in the press and bend it right here, away from that. And then weld some sleeves in here, and hope for the best. Try to avoid that whole oblong thing. And get some better bolts. But really, these things are so cheap. I don't recommend them, but we're going to follow through. We're going to try to make this right. I don't know if I'm going to recompress it. You know, I don't know if I'm going to recompress this and weld a sleeve here. I mean, I could, but that would weaken everything. I'm not quite sure. What do you guys think? Should I try to recompress this and weld a sleeve in the correct spot? But then that's weak, and we've discolored the chrome terribly, but I don't really care. Anyway, that's basically the difference. Let's take one more measurement. And people are really interested in these Springer front ends, so it's really nice to be able to compare one to an actual Schwinn Springer. Now, we measured one of these was 21 3/8 from hole to hole across like this. And yeah, it is 21 3/8 about. So let's just pretend we're measuring this one hole to hole, which we are. And it's 21 5/8. Okay, so that's a 1/4 inch difference from the overall length. And this bolt hole on this one is way down here. And it's a cheap piece of junk. Yeah, okay, so we have our choice. I'm not using this Schwinn Springer on this bike. It's just not quite... it's not the quality of the frame and finish that I would put an original Schwinn Springer on. So it's just not quite the quality that needs to happen to use that. And plus, I don't think Typhoons even came with a Springer. I do have the original fork, and it is a little bunky. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little off. I think all else fails, and we could put this back in, turn the bike upside down, have someone sit on it, and I can crunch it back forward. It looks like it took a small hit. Yeah, you can really see it on that side. Can you see it? How the fork stem itself is kicked back like it took somebody ran into something. Look at the quality of the paint back in the day. Yeah, there was some good lead in that. Good luck getting anything to look that good nowadays. Well, I guess people could, you know. All right, so that's the Skinny. We have our choice. This is not going on the Typhoon. Sorry, that's in my personal stuff, waiting for a nice frame. Should we mess with this? Should we smack these down? Weld the sleeve slightly lower and hope for the best? I mean, is that even going to work? I mean, these are pretty close, though. Yeah, it might. Okay, so vote. Are we going to work on the fleet? I'm getting pretty close on this fender. You know, we can do some more paint stripping. I think the most interesting thing probably would be messing around with the Springer front end. Or putting this fork back in. I mean, this is a complete running bike minus the fork problem. You know, it could be really nice. It's, you know, a little scuffy and muffy. Scuffy and muffy. Yeah. Okay, so I got the community post on there. You want me to work on the fleet, which is over here. And I could get most of this goo off and we could bolt this fender on and kind of make the back wheel happen. Just to kind of get it going. I mean, I wasn't really able to talk to a lot of people when I was taking all this goo off. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what the vote is, you know, because I don't have a lot of Schwinns to work on here. So you guys got to vote. Okay, peace out. I hope this was helpful. It's Schwinn Springer versus Repro Springer. And I'm pretty sure that the Schwinn Springer is better, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure this is a Schwinn Springer. It's just too well made. Okay. Thanks for your comments and supporting the channel. It's been good. People have been subscribing lately and commenting, and it's all good for everything. And just put your vote in. Saturday, I think I'm going to start it a little earlier this Saturday. I'll have the thumbnail up pretty soon, and if you see his thumbnail, you know I'm going to have the live feed. So let me know what you want me to work on. It's just going to be one bike this time. I'm not hopping around like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You know, we're just going to take it real easy this time. Okay, peace out, folks.